Hey everyone. Ever catch yourself in the mirror kind of wondering, were my eyelashes always this short?
It's like, where'd they go?
Right.
Well, in this deep dive, we're getting to the root of longer, thicker lashes because we all want those. I'm going to break down how those little hairs actually grow, look at some seriously cool ways to give them a boost.
And yeah, probably bust a few myths along the way too.
Love it.
And to help us navigate this whole lash landscape, we've got an awesome expert with us, someone who really gets the science of hair growth.
Thanks for having me. Excited to dig into this.
I've always wondered about this whole life cycle thing with eyelashes. Like, they don't just grow forever like the hair on our heads.
You're totally right. They have their own little routine, kind of like,
Think of it like a plant. They have phases of growing like crazy, then they chill for a bit, and eventually they say goodbye. Those phases even have fancy names: anagen, catagen, and telogen.
Okay, so break those down for me. What's actually happening in each phase?
So anagen, that's the star of the show, the active growth time. But here's the thing.
For eyelashes, it's way shorter than the anagen phase for the hair on our scalp. That's why our lashes just don't get as long.
So that's the secret. How long does this growth spurt last for our lashes then?
We're talking weeks, not months, unfortunately. Usually just about 1 to 2 months for that anagen phase.
Yeah.
Then it goes into catagen, which is like a quick transition period, maybe a week or two, tops.
And then it hits telogen, the resting phase, where the eyelash is basically just hanging out, waiting to naturally fall out.
So when I see a few lashes on my cotton pad after taking off my makeup, it's not necessarily time to freak out.
Exactly. Losing a few every day is totally normal, just like we shed hair from our scalp all the time. It's them just doing their cycle thing. BUT, if you're suddenly seeing a ton more than usual, or if it feels really different.
That's when it's worth looking into a bit more, maybe checking in with a dermatologist to rule out anything else going on.
That makes me feel so much better, knowing that some shedding is just part of the deal. But let's get to the good stuff. What can we do to make the most of that growth time?
Everyone wants to know, how do we encourage our lashes to grow back fuller, longer? Spill the tea.
So we know our lashes have this limited time to get long and luxurious, but how do we make the most of it? Is there anything that actually helps them grow, or is that all just marketing hype?
Oh, there are definitely things you can do, and some of it really works. Let's start with those lash-boosting serums that are everywhere these days.
Yes, it seems like everyone and their mom has a lash serum now. But what should we actually look for? Like, what makes a good serum? What's the secret sauce?
Ingredients are key. There are a few superstars you'll see a lot that have some good science behind them.
Okay, hit me with those magic ingredients.
Well, one you've probably heard of is biotin.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's a B vitamin that everyone talks about for hair, skin, nails.
Right.
And for good reason. Biotin is super important in making keratin.
Keratin. Now, remind me again what that is exactly.
Keratin is basically the protein that makes up our hair, skin, and nails. It's like the building material for them.
Okay, right.
So if you're low on biotin, your body might not be able to make enough keratin, and then you end up with weaker hair, including your eyelashes.
So more biotin, potentially stronger, healthier lashes.
Got it. Exactly. Another ingredient to look out for is peptides.
Peptides.
They're basically like tiny chains of amino acids.
Okay, now you're losing me a little. Chemistry was never my strong suit.
No worries.
Yeah.
Think of amino acids like little building blocks. You put them together in different ways to make different proteins. Peptides are just short chains of those building blocks, and some of them can actually tell your hair follicles, hey, wake up and grow.
So it's like giving your lashes a direct hit of what they need to grow.
Exactly. And then there's panthenol. It's derived from vitamin B5.
Okay.
And it's really good at moisturizing, which might seem kind of random for lash growth, but
Right. When your lashes have enough moisture, they're less likely to break, which means they have a better shot at growing longer.
it's like we got to nourish those lashes from the inside out.
Totally. But serums aren't the only option. Let's talk about some more natural stuff, like oils and gels. Have you heard of using castor oil for hair growth?
Oh my gosh, my grandma swears by castor oil for everything.
Right. There's a lot of people who say it works, even though the research on it is still kind of limited.
Interesting.
It's thought to be good because of ricinoleic acid, which might help with any inflammation around the hair follicles.
Huh. I never knew that about castor oil. I've also heard great things about coconut oil. What about that one?
Coconut oil is a great moisturizer for your skin and hair. Plus, it's got lauric acid, which might help keep your hair from losing protein.
So it could make your lashes a bit stronger, less likely to break off. And then there's vitamin E oil.
Right.
Another popular one, it's an antioxidant, so it can protect your hair from all that environmental stuff that can damage it.
So many options. Okay, but the big question. What about petroleum jelly?
I feel like that's like an old school beauty tip, but does it actually work?
It's mostly anecdotal evidence for petroleum jelly. It might make your lashes look a bit nicer, kind of condition them.
But there's not much proof that it actually makes them grow.
Uh-huh.
One thing to keep in mind with any oil or gel, though, is to be super careful about how you apply it.
Okay, yeah.
Use a clean mascara wand or a cotton swab. You don't want to get any bacteria in your eye.
Oh, for sure. Longer lashes shouldn't equal an eye infection. Okay, so we've covered serums, oils, gels. What about what we're putting in our bodies? Can supplements help with lash growth?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about biotin earlier?
Yeah.
Taking biotin supplements is one way to make sure you're getting enough, which we know is important for that keratin production.
Right.
Another one that's often recommended is omega-3 fatty acids.
Oh, yeah. Those are good for your heart and everything else. But how do they affect eyelashes?
They have anti-inflammatory properties, which
Yeah.
seems to be a common thread here, and some studies have linked them to hair growth. You get more in your diet, things like salmon, walnuts, flax seeds,
Right.
or you can take a supplement.
Food first, though, right?
Always. And a good multivitamin could be helpful too, just to make sure you're not missing any essential nutrients that contribute to healthy hair.
Yeah.
But it's always smart to check with your doctor or a registered dietitian before starting any new supplement routine.
For sure, for sure. Always better to be safe than sorry. Okay, there's one more thing I've been dying to ask about. Eyelid massage. I've heard whispers about this, but is there any truth to the idea that massaging your eyelids can actually help your lashes grow?
So eyelid massage, is there anything to that, or is that like an old wives' tale?
There might actually be something to it. It all comes back to stimulating those hair follicles.
Yeah. Okay. How does massaging your eyelids do that?
Well, when you massage your eyelids gently, of course, you're increasing the blood flow to the area.
So it's like giving those
Okay.
follicles a little jump start.
Yeah, exactly. And that increased blood flow is bringing all the good stuff, nutrients and oxygen that the hair follicles need to grow. It's not like a magic solution or anything, but
It's easy, it's free, and you can just work into your routine. Why not?
totally. I love it. Okay, but let's shift gears for a sec. We've been talking about all this good stuff, serums, oils, massage.
Yeah.
But what if you're doing all that and your lashes are still like, nah, we're good?
Right.
What if you need to bring out the big guns?
Well, that's when we start talking about prescription medications.
Okay.
And the most famous one, the only one actually approved by the FDA specifically for eyelash growth, is Latisse.
Okay, let's talk about Latisse because I feel like that's the one everyone's heard of, but no one really knows how it works. First of all, what does FDA approved even mean in this context?
It means that Latisse has been through a whole bunch of testing,
Okay.
clinical trials, the whole 9 yards, to make sure it's both safe and effective.
Got it.
Like the FDA has looked at all the data and decided that, yep, the benefits outweigh the risks when it's used correctly.
Okay, that's good to know. Anytime I hear prescription, I'm like, okay, tell me more about what could go wrong. So it sounds like they've done their due diligence on that front. So how does it actually work? What's the science behind it?
It's actually pretty interesting. Latisse has this medication in it called bimatoprost,
Bimatoprost.
which, get this, was originally developed as a treatment for glaucoma.
Wait, really? For glaucoma? That's wild. How does that even happen? How do you go from glaucoma treatment to, lash-enhancing wonder drug?
So people who were using it for glaucoma started noticing that their eyelashes were getting longer and thicker, like as a side effect.
Oh, wow.
And the researchers were like, hold up, what's going on here? They did some more research and figured out that bimatoprost seems to actually make the anagen phase, that growth phase we were talking about earlier, last longer.
So it's like hitting the fast-forward button on lash growth.
Pretty much. It's giving your lashes more time to grow, which is how you get those crazy results you often hear about. Longer, fuller, darker, the works.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So how do you actually use it?
You usually apply it once a day, just along the base of your upper lashes,
Okay.
using a sterile applicator. It's kind of like liquid eyeliner,
Yeah.
but you're putting it on the skin right at the lash line. And most people start to see results in like 2 months, give or take.
And this is important. It's not a one-time thing. To keep those amazing lashes, you got to keep using Latisse.
Okay, so it's a commitment. But like any medication, there are Potential side effects. What are those? Like, what do people need to be aware of before they run out and get Latisse?
Yeah, definitely talk to your doctor about all this, but the most common ones are usually pretty mild.
Okay.
Things like stinging, itching, maybe a little redness or dryness around the eyes, and it usually goes away pretty quickly. In rare cases, though, it can cause your iris to get darker, which is usually permanent. So again, talk to your doctor. That's super important.
Yes. Definitely not something to mess around with. Okay, let's switch gears one last time. We've talked a lot about how to grow W lashes, but what about preventing damage in the first place? Like, what are some common lash loss culprits we should be aware of?
Oh man, so many things can mess with our lashes. Think about how many times a day you rub your eyes.
Oh gosh, too many times probably, especially when I'm tired.
We all do it, but all that rubbing can actually break off your lashes or make them fall out. It's like you wouldn't yank on a loose thread on your shirt.
It's a good point. Never thought about it like that.
Same with your eyelashes, so just try to be mindful of how much you're touching or rubbing your eyes. It can really make a difference.
Good to know. What about eyelash extensions? Those are having a moment right now.
Right, they look great, but yeah, they can definitely put some stress on your natural lashes.
Figured.
All that weight and the glue and everything, it can damage the hair follicles over time and even lead to lash loss. So it's good to give your natural lashes a break now and then. Let them breathe.
Gotcha. Got to find that balance. Okay, and speaking of things that go on our lashes, what about mascara?
Mascara can be tricky. It's really about how you apply it and remove it.
Okay, hit me with your best mascara tips.
First, try to avoid waterproof mascara if you can.
Really? I always thought waterproof was best for, like, making sure it doesn't run or smudge.
I know it seems counterintuitive, but waterproof mascaras are usually super drying and you have to rub a lot more to get them off, which is not good for your lashes.
Okay, that makes sense. So if I'm not using waterproof, what's the best way to get my mascara off at the end of the day?
A good oil-based makeup remover is your best friend. The oil helps break down the mascara without you having to scrub at your lashes. Just soak a cotton pad, hold it over your eye for a few seconds to let the makeup soften up, then gently wipe away.
Game changer. See, I learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Okay, any other mascara tips or are we good?
Oh, and be gentle with your eyelash curler.
Oh yeah, to curl or not to curl.
Curling your lashes is fine. Just use a light touch and don't pull or anything. And make sure your curler's clean and the pad is in good shape. Those little things matter.
Got it. Treat your lashes with kindness. Okay, I have to ask though, sometimes, even when we're super careful, things happen. Why do eyelashes fall out more than they should? What's going on there?
It can be a bunch of things, honestly. Sometimes it's as simple as aging, just like the hair on our head, our eyelashes tend to thin out as we get older.
Makes sense. I hadn't really thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's just a natural part of life. But sometimes it can be a bit more complicated. Certain medical conditions can affect hair growth, including eyelashes, things like alopecia or thyroid problems, even some skin conditions.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
And certain medications can also cause lash loss. Chemotherapy drugs, for example, or some thyroid medications.
So it's really about looking at the bigger picture.
Exactly. Your overall health, what medications you're taking, your lifestyle, it all ties together.
It really does. This has been so eye-opening, pun intended. I feel like I've learned so much, not just about how to get amazing lashes, but how to actually take care of them, which I think a lot of us forget about.
It's been fun.
The biggest takeaway for me is that whether you're rocking naturally fabulous lashes or looking for a little boost, it's all about understanding how it all works. And who knows, maybe next time we can deep dive into eyebrows. I have a feeling they have their own secrets too. Until then, happy lash loving everyone.